We did have Kendrick Lamar. I didn't know anything about the show. I just started seeing everybody posting about it, and it looked like it was epic. I don't do concerts, but that one looked like it was one for the books. Yeah, it's like it was a good vibe. But Kendrick Lamar pop out, show united friends, enemies, and Drake haters. It's about 16,000 people in attendance. And towards the end, what you did see was he brought a lot of people on the stage, and the people he brought on the stage was from all walks of life in LA. You know, he had all the gang members up there, or at least the affiliates of it, and he brought them together. And the message that he was preaching towards the end was unity. So I had to find a question to pull away from that. I didn't want to talk about the performances, but the question that I wanted to pose to the panel was, what does this concert say about the evolving landscape of hip hop and its role in social movements? What does this concert say about the evolving landscape of hip hop and its role in social movements? Who wants to go ahead and tackle this first, man? I don't want to pick on nobody just yet. And I'll say that for the next topic.
I'll jump in. I think it's like
All right.
kind of contradictory. Like, how he gonna sing "Not Like Us" 3 times against Drake, who we know is biracial, and then at the end speak about unity? Like, it's conflicting to me when you think about it from that perspective. Like, I kind of feel like he needs to pick a lane.
Oh yeah, I did forget to mention too. He did play the track 5 times, so it was in heavy rotation the
Nice.
entire night. Yeah, I think he played it back to back, maybe once or twice, and then the other times he filtered it in between artists. I'm gonna go to you in White.
Yeah, nah, I don't think it was contradictory at all. I think his point was valid. Like, so you gotta look at the overall landscape of hip hop. It's spawned from like black nationalist movements, and it was a cultural reporting for what was going on for people that did not have a voice to reach each other and touch base with each other. With the commercialization of hip hop and the added influence of other people into it, it's been driven in a direction that pushes hyper materialism and extreme sexual explicitness, right? So that's what Drake represented to him. He represented a corporate beast as far as I'm concerned, for what I've seen, and he didn't like what he stood for as far as being at the top of the culture or being even in the driver's seat of the culture. So when he's saying like not like us, he's saying I'm this is not just something I'm found out about and started to like. I was born into this culture, and everybody can participate, everybody welcome, but bro, at the end of the day, this my shit. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody saying, "Hey, you can come visit, you can come spend the night," but this ain't your house. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and go to you, Darwin. What are your thoughts about it, sir?
Uh, I think it just paints the picture of how people who come from a specific demographic had to endure uh, suppression growing up and recognize the suppression from their people. Uh, I think there's a lot of pain coming from it, and that pain tends to cause us to, you know, be disconnected from each other. You know, our race, not other races, but a race internally. You know what I'm saying? You have light skinned, uh, biracial, regardless of the fact in DNA. I mean, we all bleed the same, but we all black. I mean, you might have a black dad, a black mom, a black granddad, a black grandfather, or a great whatever down the line. Somebody was biracial. If it's a ADOS issue, I don't want to stamp it with an ADOS issue. I would like to use colorism. You know, I think that's a more accurate thing. So there's a lot of colorism within the black race, and it appears it's not an issue or it's a concern for people. So my thing is, I hear people talk about it, how it's a problem, but the people who actually pushing it or pushing the narrative or showing examples of how some violence could probably come from it don't really care. They don't really care, and I think we wasting our time and energy caring if no one else cares. You know, I mean, I have kids. You know, I'm concerned about them going out there and having to deal with being a fairer color or a darker color or whatever. But the fear is kind of relaxed, so to speak, because I know I'm able to grasp them and train them up, and you know what I'm saying, and mold their thinking into a way to where they can protect themselves and deal with it and just let it go by. You know what I'm saying? If their lives can just just keep it moving, man. Don't even worry. Focus on bigger picture. But yeah, I think hip hop culture can be misleading in a way. I think a lot of people think hip hop supposed to be this thing we listen to as a guide in life for black people, or like the I think people look at hip hop culture as a whole as activism for black people. Whatever they rap about, whatever the trends are. If it's black, hood, the more hooder black, the more it resonates with our people, and the more we validate it and stamp it off as something positive. And if somebody get in the way of that, of stamping it off as something positive, even if it's killing each other, even if it's selling drugs to each other's mothers and kids, if anybody get in the way of anything that's influenced by hip hop or carried by hip hop or spoken through hip hop, then we'll use our trauma from the past and how we were brought out of slavery, so we can be justified to be evil towards each other as a black people. And I don't really particularly like that. You know, I would look for the next generation, every generation that comes. I mean, I haven't been here long enough, obviously, but I always look for the new people that come in to be like, man, okay, can we rap about something that can help our people? You know what I'm saying? Can we rap? Do we always got to rap about the hood or killing each other or drugs? Is it some? Is it some? Is it a journey that we're going on with hip hop, or is just this what we got? You know, and we just gotta accept it. I yield.
I just want to readdress. So it can't be colorism if in that song he clearly said a child that's not even like that's less of a black man than Drake, his son. He called him a black man. It was more about cosplaying a perspective of what he thinks black culture is. Kendrick has been pretty adamant about representing all the facets of it, the good, the bad, and not speaking of it by glorifying it is not the main thing he does. And he's saying that what Drake represents is a bastardization of that, because you're pretending to what he doing is similar to somebody pretending to survive cancer and then being a spokesman for cancer survivors. You never had chemo, you never had to wake up throwing up, you never had any of the issues related to that, but yet you tack on cancer survivor to your name and try and get rich off of, and get very rich off of it.
So what's the accurate placement of what he's doing for cancer surviving? Are you saying speaking for behalf of?
I'm saying that's the equivalent of, so you attach yourself to the trauma and pain of the Black American community to present an image that comes from out of that. And then you're cosplaying a role from within that. Like Drake, probably one of the greatest actors ever. He a great entertainer, but it's still an act at the end of the day.
So who would we
To Marcus's point, for example, Drake did a song where he spoke ill of his father, talking about how his father wasn't there to so-called relate to his audience. Father had to come out and say, I was always there. To the point in which later on, now him and his father real cool and everything, and people started looking back on it, was like, wait, you sat here and made a song and dissed your, you know what I mean, and spoke ill of your own father as if he wasn't there, and then we all found out he was. So that's kind of what Marcus is talking about, is that you're cosplaying a struggle that you did not live, and then you're trying to, and then, you know what I mean? So, and the people who actually live that are looking at you funny once they find out, once the blinders come off and everybody's seeing you for what you are.
So let me
ask you, example would be Darwin. If I pretended to have military valor, and like you're a military man, I start wearing military uniforms, walking around saluting people, asking for 10% off discounts, having people, thank me for my service, and you just sitting there watching me do all this, knowing I've never been in the military, knowing I don't got no affiliation with the military. I just bought a uniform. How would you feel about that?
I would feel I mean, I wouldn't feel a way. I would just feel like
Come on, bro.
you're very disrespectful to the people who served in the uniform. But to
Come
me
on, man.
specifically, I tend to ignore people who do foolish shit like that. You know what I'm saying? If you're
All right.
false flag like you serve, then
Hey,
I just pray for people like that because they're gonna really if they run into the right person, they're gonna get what they deserve for it. So I tend
Would
to
you,
hey, Derwin, that's a rarity. I done seen people rip off badges, tell people to come out of the
yeah,
fake
that's what I'm
uniforms and
saying.
everything, man.
That's what I'm saying. If
Most
you
people
run
don't
into
play that.
somebody,
Most veterans don't play that. Most
yeah, but
veterans
that's
don't
what I'm
play that.
saying. I'm saying most veterans don't. That's why I said if you run into the right person, they're willing to go to jail over that shit. But
Well, I mean,
what
you
I
gotta
want
be
to
honest
say,
though. This is still music,
hold on,
though.
let me just ask you this because I don't want to lose sight of the point that y'all made. I think it was a great point, but I just wanted to confirm something because y'all stated that he pretended that his father wasn't there. I get that point. So are y'all saying that his father's response that hey, I was there for you was Drake's response after that? Oh, sorry, Dad, you were, or did he not even challenge that? Because I would argue if Drake never walked his words back and apologized to his father, then who's to say that he pretended?
Well, it was kind of obvious when you like pay attention to the discourse between him and his father. You can tell that it was just a line in the song. It wasn't his life.
How can you see
Well,
now?
because later on he started saying lyrics about he had lyrics in his song about how his father, you know what I mean, the relationship he had with his father. So
but he needed that relationship to try and tie himself to being a Black American. It's very advantageous for him how he's using
I
it.
get it.
It's on and off. But
Like,
go ahead.
yeah, let's make sure we're getting other people involved too, y'all, and then
I
we can
just want
circle
to say
back
this last
around.
thing and you can go. I'm just a meticulous person about information I receive. So if somebody said that they did that something happened and then someone else come and say that didn't happen, I'm not gonna just say it didn't happen because someone one up them until the person who actually stated take back his words and correct it. So for all I know, from my perspective, is his father wasn't there until he actually stated otherwise. So if you're using that as your only
well,
tool
I was
or
using it
way to
as an
discount him
example.
from being able to resonate with the Black people as being a cancer patient, so metaphor you use, and I would still challenge that, later, but we'll let somebody else.